One evening, a few years ago, back when I was a bachelor student, I was hanging out with my friends and we were talking about salaries, internship salaries back then. And we were a big group of students with diverse backgrounds: mechanical engineering, business informatics, computer science, biology, I don't know, marketing students. And one friend, she was studying Lehramt. Lehramt is what you study in Germany when you want to work as a teacher. So we are hanging around talking about a salary. At one point, we realized that only she, the friend who was studying Lehramt, only she knew how much are her colleagues earning. And why? Because the salaries for teachers are standardized, and they are publicly available, and you can look them up. And we didn't have a clue how much our colleagues are earning. And why do I tell you this? Because the objective of my presentation is to show you what studies about salaries you can read and find out how much your colleagues are earning, how to read them, where to find them, and to get an impression, should you act, or can you assure yourself that you're happy and you have a nice deal with your employer. So today, we're going to talk a short intro about myself and Nemački kutak, the kind of organizers. Then we're going to talk about the relevant compensation in studies in Germany. You should take a look at it if you're interested. Then we're going to talk about 6 factors which influence your salary in Germany. Then we're going to go through 2 studies done by Stepstone and Compensation Partner. Then we're going to talk a bit about salary increase and other factors when considering a job besides salary. And then we're going to wrap up with the most important things. This is me 6 years and 14 kilograms ago. I came to Germany in September 2009 after I finished my high school with a dream to play volleyball. I failed immediately, so I started learning German and studying. I did my bachelor's and master's mostly in Germany and the rest of the world. And currently I work as a Java developer, or how you name it here, backend developer. Before, I was working as a SAP finance consultant, consulting on finance. I did some applied machine learning, .NET, full stack development, team leading, and whatever, and some jobs in university. And with my hobbies, I write Nemački kutak, and I have a few other projects going on. What is Nemački kutak? Well, Nemački kutak is basically helping people to find their way to Germany from people from the former Yugoslavia, help them find their way to Germany and to find their way in Germany. So we write guides on how to get a blue card, residence permit, work permit, how to deal with the German bureaucracy. It's not an easy task. How to enroll in German universities, understand the German business culture, because it's kind of different from the countries we're coming from. And also we have experiences from other people who are reporting how they like Germany, what they don't like, how is it to live in different places. So some of here we also have a few guest authors. Once again, thank you for your contribution. And since recently, kind of communities starting to emerge around Nemački kutak, communities of people with academic background. And we try to get together and to meet and to do something else. So they're like emerging subgroups. The strongest one are the students. We already met like 5 or 6 times across Germany. Since recently, doctors and dentists is an emerging group, since we are helping them to relocate to Germany. So if you have any doctors and dentists who want to work in Germany, please feel free to let them know they can get in touch with me. And now what we're doing here to establish the IT experts for the first time, to get to know each other, because we are a huge group here, and also it would be nice to know who is everything doing. It opens opportunities and who knows what. And Nemački kutak, that's not only me, it's also my really good friend from Hamburg, Nikola. He is the backbone of it, doing all the nice designs, images, pictures, writing text, supporting, answering a bunch of emails and stuff. As we said, 2 of us are kind of the main contributors, but a lot of guest authors with different backgrounds: social psychology, photography, IT, PhD, whatever, everything is there of smart and interesting people we can all learn from. Currently, we have more than 30,000 users a month, and we landed in a few newspapers across Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia, and BBC. This picture was especially shared even in tabloids like Informer and Courier. I was like, oh, damn. Crazy, like the only good thing they published ever, So that was it. Let's talk about the numbers and the studies. There are different studies in Germany about the salary. Some of them are bad, some of them are good, but these are my favorites. First, the publicly available ones that are for free. You can look them up. The one is done by Stepstone. It's one of the biggest German job portals. We're going to go through that in a few slides. Since recently, Xing started publishing Gehaltsstudie. Xing is German version of LinkedIn. And Robert Half also has interesting insights. Then we have the non-public studies that our colleagues from HR departments are usually buying to look up what salaries they can offer. We have the one compensation study, a compensation partner. They're focusing primarily on IT and real estate. And they're my favorite. We're going to go through them as well. And we have two relevant more studies about management salaries and the L1 managing board salaries. So 6 factors which influence your salary in Germany. All these studies, they all identify 5 factors. I know I say here 6, but all the studies identify 5 factors. Does anyone has an idea what these factors might be, or does anyone want to guess? Location, education.
No, age can't be.
And location.
Location. More guesses? We have the location. Someone said geographic location. It's really important stuff in German. We're going to go in more detail about it. We have company size. Nobody thought of that. It's also kind of more or less surprising. Then industry. It makes difference in Germany. And work experience, and thank God the level of education. Comparing our countries where we come from, education, yeah, you buy it, you know. So thank God in Germany that makes the difference. And there is one more important thing that influences your salary. It's not identified by the studies, but it's really, really important. Can anyone guess what that might be? I didn't hear. Gender? That's right. Negotiation skill was the right answer. And negotiation skills before signing the contract, and negotiation skills after signing the contract. And there is one other study by Robert Half that I mentioned before. They found out that between 18 and 25% of people never get in negotiations. So they don't fail. They never even start it. They don't ask. They didn't try it. They didn't know that exists. I think that's frightening, and everybody should try it and then see what happens. So before I present the numbers, some of them are the average, so take them with caution. As I just recall what average means. We can have a COBOL developer working probably for a bank or insurance earning 110Ks annually, and we can have a React developer in a Berlin startup probably earning around 40. So on average, they earn 75Ks. So take the numbers with caution, we're going to see. And also recall these are the average salaries of people working in Germany. So what is the average profile of developer in Germany? Can anyone guess what are kind of the properties of average developer in Germany? How? Junior?
Maybe 3 years experience, something like that.
3 years experience? Any more guesses? So there are like 2 things. The developers in Germany, mostly, they speak German. Which majority of us is not doing. They also have German degree from a German university, and that are also factors that kind of can influence your salary. Because in some teams they have a high salary, but you have to speak German. It's okay. It's normal. And probably have more than 5 years of experience, an average developer in Germany, and they probably work in a small and medium enterprises called Mittelstand, because that's the majority of companies in here. So let's see the numbers which were published by Stepstone, one of the biggest job portals. So they find out that the average salary of all knowledge workers in Germany, not only IT, all knowledge worker is 58,000. So an average person who finished university and is working in Germany earns 58,000. And what you can see here, if you have people beneath you, you're responsible for, your salary goes up. The more people you have, the more your salary goes. And that's one of crucial things about the difference between Germany and US, also in IT. You can make the big money by working for someone if you have people beneath you. So the money is in management in Germany. How do numbers, and also a word of caution, these are the gross numbers, so before taxes and before paying insurance and other stuff. And they also include total cash, so the base salary plus any variable thing like bonus, extra hours paid, vacation off, or whatever. So, and how do numbers look for IT people from the IT background? Well, it's higher than the average. It's 62,000. So an average person who deals with IT, whatever that might be, earns 62,000 annually per year. And you can see if you have people beneath you, you have an average 90% increase in salary. And also, unfortunately, it's still the case that the female or the woman earn less than guys. I hope that's going to change if we do the same job, the same payment. And usually from this 62,000, the 10% is the variable pay. So the base is around 56,000, the average. So now we talk about the 6 factors. One of them was the location. So in Germany, the salaries are higher in the West Germany, not geographically West, but political West. So that means geographical West and geographical South. We can see here the differences on average salary per state. It's a lot of numbers, but what you can see is that the best paying state, Hesse, or Hessen, or is Frankfurt, has on average 60% higher salary than Saxony-Anhalt. 60%, that's a huge number. Let it sink in. So only by moving to another state, you can have way higher salary. Top 3 states for IT, also for non-IT, Hesse, Frankfurt, the area, Bavaria, and Baden-Württemberg, the South. The South and a bit the West Germany. We said the company size matters for salary. And all the studies clearly identify the big companies pay more. So if you work in a bigger company, you earn more. Doesn't say if you do more or less, you're going to earn more on average. And we can see if you're working for a corporation or a company with more than 1,000 employees, you have 15% more than average. If you work for a small company, you are 10% below the average. So advice, if you want more money, move to big company to South Germany. Easy, eh? So another factor, we said the industry is also important where you work for. So if you have a back-end developer working in banking industry or a back-end developer working in a retail, it's also different. I guess that the guy from the retail has more job to do because he has more responsibilities, but still, on average, banks pay way more than retail. What you can see here, for example, if you would move from, If you would move from medical IT to banking, you would get on average 10,000 more, just from changing the industry. You can do more or less the same job. You do machine learning for medical stuff, some cancer image processing, you do the same for banking, 10,000 more. And what you can see here, all these industries, the top 10 best paid industries, they all have large corporations, large companies, and the majority of them is located in South Germany. So it means, again, if you want to work in top paying industries, probably go south and to big company. And I think it's all really cool in Germany, the work experience and the education pay off. If you have a university degree, you can see a huge difference in the entry salary. After 25 years, that's even almost like 30,000 difference by having a university degree, and that's kind of okay compared to our countries where nobody cares about education, you know. And as you can see, with more experience, the salary also increased because more experience in Germany also means more qualification and more skills. Hi. So regardless what industry you're working in, your salary depends on your experience and also on your education. Also, for the IT, it's the same case, no difference. We can see here a few roles. The IT architects are the most paid on average by Stepstone with 10 years of experience with 85,000. They didn't start as the best ones with the entry salary. They were better, like project management, or SAP, but over the time they have the higher salary because it's important skill to know, everybody needs. If you look at the job roles, StepStone finds out that the senior developer job title is the best paid one with the average of 65,000, and the application engineer, so the guy it's interface between development, customer support, and pre-sales, is also on top. But we can see no front-end developer. They are unfortunately not so appreciated in Germany compared to the rest of the colleagues. So that were the numbers by StepStone. The free publicly available report or study. You can also find the link in the slides later. I'm going to publish them. Now we're going to talk about the numbers published by Compensation Partner. That's a company from Hamburg that's doing their business, selling their studies to HR departments. So actually you have to pay a bunch of money to get these numbers. They also find out in Germany, education makes the difference, university and PhD. They don't have average like StepStone. They have the median and the quantiles. So we can see apprenticeship. That's the German special kind of education called Ausbildung. So if you don't go to university, you do the Ausbildung. We can see that people, the best on average, people who did Ausbildung, and they're the top paying ones, they earn less than the average developer or IT person who finished masters. But you can also see there's a difference before UIS is University of Applied Sciences. Before there was a difference if you're studying diploma at university or University of Applied Sciences, they made a difference, but with the introduction of bachelor and masters, that doesn't pay a difference anymore. So that's why we don't have a difference between bachelor's, University of Applied Sciences, and university. It's more or less now equally evaluated with a bit of different skills, but the industry thinks it's the same. And these are not the entry numbers. These are the numbers of all people. So with the people with 20 years of experience, 30 years of experience, the entry numbers. When we talk about the entry numbers, and also the compensation partner finds out the same. Company size has the influence. If you work for a bigger company, you have a higher salary. And they find out if moving from a small company with less than 100 people to a big corporation, on average, you can count for 15,000 gross on increase. And they also see that the least paid employees in large corporation are more or less similarly paid or even more better paid than the best paid people in the small enterprises. So if you're one of the best in the small enterprise, you probably earn less than the least paid in a big corporation. And we talk about the entry salary. They find out that the entry salary for developer is 44,000, so people who just finished university and start working. And they can see it also goes to below 40,000. And as you can see, with the age, with your experience, your salary also increases. And they find out that an IT person with more than 10 years of experience has around 67,000 gross annually a year in Germany. And what they also conclude that after 7 years, so if you started here and after 7 years you're one of the best ones, that means an increase over 20,000. That's also in 7 years for comparing to countries where you're coming from a big number. So they have another studies of work area for the most paid work areas. And they find out that the IT security earns the most, on average 75,000. And their explanation why IT security is getting more and more popular is due to Internet of Things. Because they say with Internet of Things, there's a lot of communication between a lot of sensitive data, and we need more security. There is a higher demand for security experts, and as a consequence, their salaries go up. We can see actually that a guy who is working in IT security earns more than a person who is leading an IT department. You can also see if you're doing SAP consulting, you're also on the top one. And if you're doing a user support, you're in the area of the least paid colleagues. And what I can say, somebody told me they are doing the full stack development. Officially, they're called backend development. I cannot remember who said that. It's actually in Germany a good thing because a backend developer earns on average more than a full stack development. And compensation partner, their argumentation for that is that specialization in Germany is the most important thing. The experts, the one who are owning the topic, they earn more, and their way of thinking is, okay, if you're doing only backend, you can be way better than doing both full stack front-end and backend. They need someone who is specialized in one thing, and that's what the German market appreciates. So about the salary increase, there are two main factors which lead to the salary increase. Does anyone wants to guess or has an idea what are those two factors?
I think one.
Yes.
Changing job.
Correct. That's correct.
Ransom.
Ransom? Any more ideas? Communication. It goes in that way. That's a good direction. Experience with the same company. Unfortunately, a lot of us think that, but it's not the case. Performance. Also, a lot of people think it's performance. Actually, one of the least ones. It's one of the ways, but not one of the important ones. Also important, but that comes step after it. That's correct. That's correct. Asking for salary is the main reason for getting an increase. But this study was like, I think around 30%, and everything else was like below 6%. So asking proactively for a salary increase probably means you're gonna get one. And unfortunately, only 4 from 10 people ask for it. And I hear a lot from people from former Yugoslavia saying, oh man, I didn't get a salary increase. I'm working there for 2 years. I'm like, did you ask for it? Like, no, why should I? I was like, well, it's kind of Western world. There is no regulation. After 2 years, you get an increase. You have to ask for it. And then you have to negotiate and say why. And the other reason somebody said is changing the employer. It's also, when you change the employer, what you do, you also ask for a high salary. So it's more or less the same. These two cases, standard pay increase, it happens after 2 years, you get a small increase, 3% or something on average to get with inflation. And promotion, internal job change, more or less. So salary increase, either change the company or ask for it. Otherwise, it's going to be more or less peanuts. So, but is the salary the most important thing when you consider when working for a company? As the founder of WordPress says, Matt Mullenweg, in the long term, it's not the best motivator, so it's not all about the money. So, a lot of people say money is important, but there are a lot of other aspects that are important when considering to take a job. And those aspects, what's important, change over as we go through stages of life. So recently, 2 job rating portals called Kununu, Austrian one now owned by Xing, the German version of LinkedIn, and Glassdoor, the American job employer rating portals, they published a study of 10 best employers in Germany. They considered a lot of those aspects I mentioned now, like home office, salary, working culture, and stuff. And they came to the following results. Both of them say that SAP is actually the best employer in Germany. And I was like, yeah, I was like, wow, cool. I was not aware of it, I was like, oh, that's a cool thing to know. What I found interesting about this list is, so they're both independent. They find the best. They come to the same conclusion. And Glassdoor identifies one company from the public sector. It's Fraunhofer. It's an institute that's doing applied research. So they're like a public institution funded by the government, plus funded from the big corporation, so they can do applied research. For example, Mercedes gives them a grant, and they do research on cars, electric cars, whatever. And I think it's really interesting that a public company, they usually have like a better reputation, is listed in the top 10. And also, it's interesting that the Austrian-German portal has 3 American companies as the best employers in Germany: Google, PayPal, and Cisco. I had some conversation with some friends, why are the American companies better than German companies in Germany? And their idea was like, well, because they are foreigners here. They don't know a lot about the culture here, so they need a good people who are aware of Germany, and those people cost, so they have to treat them well. Otherwise, they're going to get kicked out of Germany because they're not getting the good people. It's kind of explanation. I'm not sure if that's the fact, but it's an idea. So to wrap it up, three things I wish everybody remembers after this presentation. The factors that influence your salary: location, company size, so West Germany, higher salary; bigger company, higher salary; more education, higher salary; more experience, higher salary. The average salary of an IT person by a stepstone is 62K gross before taxes, before insurances, and is the average developer in Germany, means speaking German, having a German degree. Before we go to West, I forgot one thing, sorry, it's my first time. If you want to follow